companies are getting more complex as well. There's a lot of mergers and acquisitions happening and bringing different parts of new companies in. They need to start thinking, how do I make this all work? Yeah. You have a journey from every mine, from exploration to digging the thing up, and then actually closing it as well. A really critical thing people are understanding now is actually in the construction phase of your plant, is sort of how important it is to actually start capturing your...
Welcome everyone to another episode of SMC on the Couch. Mile Dimkovski, Executive Director at SMC. Today we've got a really exciting and interesting topic for you. It's part of the digital transformation vernacular, and we're talking with Leon Cosgrove, who's an expert in OT, operational technology, a lot of other things as well, but
Yes.
That's the topic we're talking about today. So Leon, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I'd like to start off with just maybe doing a bit of an introduction of yourself and a bit of your relationship with SMC, because it's a long one. It's even before I joined 13 years ago.
Yes.
So you've got a long-standing relationship, but also just a little bit about your experience in the past. And so maybe you can give the audience a bit of an intro.
Yeah, can do. So over 34 plus years in mining and technology. But my background, I started as an exploration geologist quite a few years ago. That was with Rio Tinto, and then I decided to then transform over into more the business side of the world, but I had a strong interest in technology around computing and that, and so that's where I sort of drifted off into. Then I got myself involved with a mining company over in WA, a mineral sands company, which now is called Iluka. I left there. Unfortunately, they got a takeover, decided to move down, got with BHP. Then I got more involved with sort of like the operational technology side of things. And then I segued a bit into automatic fare collection systems. There was a company called ERG then. Back into the mining game again, I joined a company called Micromine, and I got involved with their systems there. And then I managed to see this job in Straits Resources, and they were looking for an IT person to help them out with their operational technology space. They're having problems with guys running up projects, but then they're all failing or they're overrunning. So I got that under control, and then I brought in, I did an information technology architecture for them. And these days you'd probably call that a digital transformation. And and during the process, that's where I met Jamin. And with Solution Mines, and he was working with one of the guys there on a Cognos systems for their business intelligence. And so I got talking to him about this challenge that we had, and then he came on board and said, I've got the expertise there to help you out. And so that's how we got together. So we went through did the technology architecture.
Yeah, so you got to experience SMC from a client.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so we really collaborated together. It was fantastic. And then Jamin brought on his team to help out more. Like, I had virtually no one in my team, and so I really heavily relied on Solution Mines to bring that sort of expertise to help me out. And so then I could then focus more on the management of the company people, that sort of side of the change, and then in terms of like the business systems and the other systems that we're looking in developing out of that architecture that we developed. So Jamie was helping out with that side of things. And one of those key ones we identified straight up was an ERP. We had a very challenging project. We had to say we're going to drop this thing in 6 months.
I've heard the story.
Yeah, and we had a lot of challenges on the way, and demerger of the company and splitting it and all this. We had to sort of deal with all that challenges, and then being told by the CEO that, you still have to deliver this thing in 6 months, even with the merger. So, but no, we worked really closely together, and we got over those challenges and delivered it, and very minimal budget overrun, and it was a great project. I always regard that's one of sort of like a bit of a highlight in my life in a way. Yeah, sort of like one of my first big challenges.
Yeah, look, an ERP, rolling out an ERP at a large organization is often a milestone for a lot of professionals, right?
Well, that's right. Yeah, and then at the same time we were focusing on the operational technology side of things. So trying to get that uniformity there, because explaining to them like get down that total cost of ownership. So there was all that sort of working at the same time, and then working closely with the IT manager as well around infrastructure and comms, and all that as well. So yeah, it was really good sort of project. Change as well was really key as well. So we sort of worked it from a top-down, bottom-up approach.
I think that's really important that you mentioned is whenever you're handling change, you've got to kind of, it's at all levels. Everyone kind of has an impact, right, or an influence. So the secret to a good change program, transformation program, is to know who those players are and to know how to motivate them.
Yeah, that's right. And the whole training approach as well, it's all key. But there's training is just not change. There's a whole communication out there to people and understanding what the impacts are, and being cognizant too of the impacts, and then sort of listening to people and saying, oh, okay, this is really actually can be a problem for you. Okay, what do we need to do?
And it's quite a contrast to your typical pure project management, right? In terms of change management, there is a lot of intangible but highly valuable conversations.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the project management focused on the day-to-day tasks and getting those sort of things over the line, making sure the schedule, the budget and all that sort of thing. Yeah, the change part is sort of like, it's very much a human interaction. It's sort of managing I suppose, it's fear of change, really. It's like people saying, what are these impacts going to be on me?
That's right.
Am I still able to do my work effectively? And
so you mentioned the operational technology. You then got into that. Maybe just for the audience, you could summarize for us within a reasonable time frame what operational technology is, and maybe just give some examples of operational technology.
Yeah, I sort of regard operational technology is sort of, you've got your classic, two layers. This is like business system space with like your ERPs, your workforce management, your environmental systems, those sort of things are sort of at that business system layer. And then operational technology, I've regarded more at that layer with, so you're covering your planning and scheduling. For mining, this is sort of for mining focused sort of things, your drilling, your fleet management, your plant maintenance, and then all the systems that actually float around in there to sort of like capture data, manage and monitor, your safety systems as well.
So things like sensors,
like people, classic things like people hear and saying in a plant, like a PLC, program logic controllers and units, and then you'll hear terms like SCADAs and DSCs and distributed control systems and historians. So those are sort of things that are really just sort of level, what they call level 2 in this thing, what they call the ISO 95 stack. So we're getting a little bit sort of technical here, but these sort of things are there to capture right from the sensors and bring it in. Then you start aggregating that data, and then you can bring it up then into your sort of like more control space, sort of things around what we call management execution systems or MES systems, where you can start then sort of like capturing that data to do things around logging events, looking at your downtime delays, in terms of also material tracking, where are your inventories, how are your conveyors going, those sort of things, doing trending, doing analytical analysis as well at that particular layer, and then that aggregating and then bringing that data up then higher up and then integration into your ERPs.
I used to be on the mining side as well before joining SMC, and a lot of organizations kind of treat them very separate. They kind of have different strategies for it, but at the end of the day, it's actually about bringing it together because it's all part of this transformation journey, right? So maybe just talk about that. What's the relationship between that and the ERP with all of your experience?
Well, the OT side, I think, it's a sort of a very historical thing because, like, they're actually a lot of times of the historians and those the SCADAs were sitting on completely separate systems, not connected into your standard IT network. They had their own networks, and so it was like, and a well sort of meaning as well in terms of that wanting to ensure that you had safety and all those sort of things controlled, because your IT space can be a little bit sort of like around cybersecurity, can be a little bit problematic. But now there's a lot of work going into cybersecurity around in the OT space and IT space. That sort of thing is starting to disappear. And you're seeing a lot of groups now bringing together their IT and OT groups working together and ensuring that you got to start getting that collaboration. I saw many
Integration of strategies.
and I saw people have been working over this over years and years to get this place, and it's still an ongoing process.
It's really important to kind of take that independent view and do this. The approach which you take when you're going and selecting, it's still the same approach.
Yes.
But the technology might be slightly different.
Yes.
And I know you've done selections of OT systems in different areas and industries. But yeah, how relatable is the process of requirements gathering, system selection, partner selection, and then implementation?
The rigor that a solution always takes around the ERP space is exactly the same rigor you have to take around an OT selection. The requirements gathering, being independent, sort of like, because that's the only way you can sort of build confidence with the client who's taking this on, is that, you haven't got an investor game in there in terms of, helping them and advising them that, you do have to talk to those companies and get a really good understanding of what they're coming out with.
Yeah.
But, like I've got a long history in terms of understanding business processes and very deep sort of understanding the sort of level 4 and level 3 type layers, and down to 2, that sort of space as well in terms of like the activities there, and then mapping those to what's needed actually, and whether those systems can actually cater for those particular activities inside your business processes. So there's that thing where you have to sort of map the business processes to the technical capability of the solutions you're buying. That's as right. Well. But also then you have to sort of think about, okay, broader outside of business process, about the intra-business processes as well. How that information is going to be passed on to another layer and to a system, to sort of to going up the value chain as well. So these are all the things you need to sort of consider as doing this.
How do you find talking to executives about the OT side of things? Because I think there is a sense I've seen of, we'll just pick what's considered best of breed, or we'll just go with that because that's what everyone uses. How do you find sort of discussing that as opposed to?
I've taken on a sort of an approach with FUTURUMIN Digital is around talking to companies at that early stage of when they're starting up a mining operation. So there's sort of a classic stage in there, your definitive feasibility study, and so with that, then you have to start deciding, this is your business processes you're putting in. We know what we're going to be mining. This is the type of plants we're going to be putting in. We know where we're mining it from. Then you got to start thinking about, well, okay, what sort of business do you want? Do you want to be a very advanced, technology-driven organization to help you reduce your costs, improve your safety, all these areas, really sort of like become high productivity organization? You need sort of going down the digital path is the right way to start going this way. But you find a lot of executives don't really fully understand that requirement to actually get that set up at the start. And it doesn't take too much work. It's always that 110, 100 thing, as they call it. Spend 1 hour in that design phase and figuring out your strategy, and that will save you many, many hours later when you go, oh, gee, I need to go along and put this in. Yeah, and then sort of trying to retrofit that in later, and you've got old systems. Yeah, it makes it very hard. So, it's
focus on the strategy.
And I think it's a lot of the time is where those people will come from in terms of like at the executive level. If they're sort of, you have finally we got more finance oriented people. And it's not they'll be less sort of knowledgeable around the OT space. Yeah. Guys are sort of like a COO sort of space, or senior technical officers, or they've been through that sort of area. They understand, and so they're fully aware. So it's really, you find different education. Yeah. You have a journey from every mine, from exploration to digging the thing up, and then actually closing it as well. Yeah. So you have to fully understand that journey. And there's different systems which are used along the way. And so a really critical thing people are understanding now is actually in the construction phase of your plant is sort of how important it is to actually start capturing your BIM information, as they call the building information management system information you got there, to bring that in and capture that. And so when you go into your operational phase, you have this all set up in your inside your environment, then you actually start to be able to do proper maintenance, asset management, and then you can start linking these things into very clever digital twin technologies which are coming out now, which you can then sort of put monitoring that against that as too. So there's this real thing that people have got to start understanding in terms of where they are in the journey, importance of capturing information and bringing that through for them as well.
There was a lot of discussion back then about reliability-centered maintenance and
Yep.
how OT actually helps a lot with that. Now, that's come leaps and bounds since I was involved with that, but that's one example where OT kind of really helps, right?
Yeah, there's this whole condition-based monitoring and then reliability-centered maintenance approaches, prescriptive and predictive maintenance.
As an example.
There's this whole, but the thing is, it all needs data.
Yeah.
And you've got to get that data from somewhere. Like you could happily go and write this into spreadsheets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we know what's going to happen there. So the source of truth in getting it straight from the health systems on board the trucks, from the historians, from the PLCs inside the process plant, these are all really now enabled now through information, IoT, Internet of Things, that sort of area. And then also there's some brilliant sort of operational data platforms coming out now that they start bringing this data through and aggregating it there. Key thing is part of that process of change as well. It's also looking in terms of standardizing how you measure things and what is a unit used here and there. Get everybody on the same language. And this is because if you can't do that, it makes it very hard actually to contextualize that information.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, Leon, one last question for you.
Right.
What's a message you would like the audience to take away from this discussion in relation to OT? I know there's probably a variety of them, but what's a key takeaway?
Oh, I think the key thing is that is do not forget it's such a critical part of your business. It's going to help you improve your productivity, your safety, your maintenance outcomes, your OEE as they call it. That this needs to be thought about, needs to be strategized, needs to be planned, and then also in terms of how then it integrates then into your business systems, for your enterprise reporting, that as well. Companies are getting more complex as well. There's a lot of mergers and acquisitions happening and bringing different parts of new companies in. They need to start thinking, how do I make this all work for the best outcome for the business. Yep.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Leon. Thanks for joining us and sharing your vast expertise in this.
No, really, really good. Thank you very much. Thank you.